Rick is really good about, building depth. That's one thing I will give him. He does recruit excellent talent, and, if one person goes down, we're not done. I mean, we saw it took a lot of injuries last year to bring us down. And we still, 8-5, it's not good, but at the same time, it's not a losing record. You know what I'm saying? It's
right.
Like we were with a lot of second and third stringers. And the Tennessee game, perfect example. We lost, I think we lost 3 or 4 players in that game, and we still found a way to win. That, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And not many teams can do that.
No, there's not many NFL teams that can lose their number 1 running back, their number 2 running back, and their top 3 wide receivers and have a winning record, much less a college team. I mean, it's just almost impossible to overcome that. And then you lose your quarterback. It was almost like it was just, somebody was playing tricks on Georgia and said, well, what the hell, we'll just go ahead and take their quarterback for the last couple of games too. Everybody else is, in the infirmary.
Yeah, that's what killed it. It's like we were already suffering so much, and then in that Kentucky game in that first half, Aaron Murray goes down for the season with an ACL tear. It was just like somebody put the cherry on top of the whipped cream. It's like, well, insult to injury, I guess you would say. It's like we already fought.
I mean, I don't understand that you're sitting here saying SEC's got such great depth, but then you're complaining that you have a losing record because of injuries. Where's your depth?
We didn't have a losing record. I said we went 8-5, even with all those injuries. We didn't have a losing record.
Your depth is so great. Well, if your depth was so great, how come you didn't step up?
We didn't lose every game. That's what I'm sitting here saying. We didn't lose every game. I mean, but there's a reason these guys are starters. Granted, you're going to have drop-off when you lose your starters on offense. But when you lose the amount that we lost, who in their right mind is going to think that you're going to continue to be the same team you were before all these injuries? Look at what we did.
Now you just said you got quality depth behind them. So if you got the quality depth that you're talking about, you're pretty much taking yourself out. 1 minute you're saying you all got quality depth and y'all keep winning, but then your excuse for losing games last year is because of injuries. What is it?
That's definitely an excuse. When you have the number of injuries we had, that is an excuse. You lose, like Lou said, you lose your best 2 running backs and your top 3 receivers, but at the same time, we still found a way to win some of those games. Yeah, we're going to lose some when you lose that much. But at the end of the day, we didn't have a losing record. I mean, for what we lost last year, the way the season ended, I mean, we really can't complain. We could have easily lost every game after that. Easily.
Yeah, I mean, we could have just put it in the tank. I mean, we're lucky some of the guys even kept showing up. I mean, the injuries, the amount of injuries. And I mean, yeah, we have people that are ready to step in and play, and you can replace those people, and the talent is there, but it's hard to overcome that many. And you do have a drop off, no matter how good your second guy or your third guy is. There's a reason they're the second or the third guy. I think the point that we're trying to make is, yes, UGA had a drop off, but the drop off was not as sharp as it would have been at some other schools had they suffered those same amount of injuries. I mean, you're talking about your top.
That's what we were getting at.
Every starting wide receiver out. Every one of them gone. Both your starting running backs gone. Your quarterback gone. And still found a way to win some games. There's a lot of other schools out there that I think would have had a much harder time, even though we did have a hard time. As good as Keith Marshall is, he's not Todd Gurley. As good as Brendan Douglas is, he's not Keith Marshall. But it was what it was with the injury. That was last year. Yeah, he did get hurt in practice yesterday. It wasn't anything major. They had to do some arthroscopic surgery on his knee. From what I'm hearing, he will be ready for the Clemson game. They're probably going to take it easy on him the rest of camp, but I think he'll be ready to go for the Clemson game.
So does Georgia have a real shot to win that East?
As far as the SEC is concerned, yes. I mean, the only team that I think we're competing with, I'm sorry, I'm not buying Florida. I'm just not. The only team that I think we'll be competing with is South Carolina. It's either going to be South Carolina or Georgia. So as far as the East,
how would you not buy Florida? Because y'all are going to have problems on defense. Their problem is going to be offense, so it's going to pretty much. Okay, you just said it right there. Even if we have a bad defense, their offense can't even put up numbers. We've had a terrible defense the last several years.
Go back and look at how many points Florida's been able to put on us. Not a lot. You don't have to score a lot to beat Florida.
Now, I wouldn't sleep on Florida this year.
I'm sorry. I cannot fear a team that's coming off a 4-8 season. I'm sorry, can't.
Yeah, and we touched on this
earlier.
earlier.
2 years ago, they were 6-6, and they went all the way to 11-1.
Well, that was several years ago, and they don't have the talent that team had either. I'm sorry. Do you honestly think Jeff Driscoll is a starter?
He went 11-1 2 years ago, did he not? I mean, after that 6-6 year when Urban left and then Muschamp came in, they went 11-1.
Well,
you want to use the injury thing. Florida had a lot of injuries last year, a lot. They were going to, fourth string quarterback?
Yeah, see, I'll agree with that. They did have a lot of injuries, and that they obviously had a drop-off. But when we met up with them, we were in that same situation. So neither one of us could really use the excuse of injuries, especially in that game, because we were both beat up by then. We were both in some trouble. But at the end of the day, we pulled off that win. And, man, their offense has just not been cutting it the last 3 years.
Man, I just think the SEC East is up for grabs. I don't see no favorite.
I think the clear-cut favorites are either South Carolina or Georgia. South Carolina, there's no denying. They're winning 10, 11 games every season now. So you got to put them up there as a favorite. And, of course, Georgia, we won it 2 years in a row.
When did they win the East? You just said a little bit ago these teams had never won the – how do you talk national championship if you never won the conference? Well, how can you talk SC championship if you never won the SC East championship?
No, you said East. You asked who's a clear-cut favorite in the East. Now, South Carolina, they have won the East before. So you have to put them up there as far as a threat to win the East because they have won the East before. Now, as far as winning the SEC championship game, until they actually win the conference, I can't sit here and say that they're going to win it. But as far as winning the East, you got to put them up there.
Well, the SC West is the SEC. I mean, that's the SEC.
Here we go.
Well, okay, I'll give you that the West has the overall depth, but 2012 showed it. I mean, we can compete with Alabama. I mean, at the end of the day, we may lose it, but they're not going to blow us out. Georgia can compete.
I mean, it's like college football. It cycles. I remember the late '90s and stuff. It was the East. It was Tennessee, Florida, Georgia. And
it goes in circles. College football goes in circles. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have a period of time where you're going to have some teams. Anybody that's got a brain knows that Tennessee's not going to be down forever. It goes in circles. The East will, I don't know when, but the East will be the cream of the crop again sometime down the road. That's just the way it is.
And it could be sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, it could. You don't know. I mean, Nick Saban turned Alabama around almost overnight. Alabama is the reason that the West is superior right now.
This is something I go round and round about with folks all the time, usually on YouTube, other places too, that the SEC East is if you separate the SEC East from the West, then the SEC East is no better than the ACC or the Big Ten and things like that. And, it's just not true. 2 years ago, we went nose to nose with Alabama 2 years ago.
Last year, and they're supposed to be one of the best.
Right. And we went nose to nose with Alabama in that championship game. I know we didn't win. I know the field is 100 yards long, so for everybody who's fixing to call in or yell at me on YouTube or whatever that the field is 100 yards long, I know that. I'm just making the point that Georgia went toe-to-toe with them. Last year, we had Auburn beat until that miracle catch at the end. So as far as the SEC East not being able to match up with the SEC West, I will agree that the West has been the better of the two sides overall over the last 4, 5, 6 years. But to say that the West is miles ahead of the East overall is just not true. And to try to say that the East is no better than the ACC is just plain out blasphemous. It's just not true.
Well, I mean, it's like we both said. I mean, Georgia can compete with Alabama. We beat LSU last year. We had Auburn beat, like you said, on that miracle play. So it's not like Georgia plays these teams and gets blown out of the water. I mean, that's just not the way it is. Anytime we play any of those teams, Georgia has a legit shot of winning. And anybody who says otherwise don't know their ass from their elbow. I mean, granted, they may not win.
Clemson can't beat Carolina? If the East is so bad, if the East is so bad, how come Clemson can't beat Carolina? Clemson had the best team last year they've had probably since the early 80s. And they still lose to Carolina. If the East is that bad, then come on, Clemson. Come on, Georgia Tech. You know, these people have their chance. If they want to show how weak the East is, these teams are getting their chance. Why aren't they doing it?
I mean, Grant, like we said, we're not saying that the East has, you know, the equal teams the West does, but at the same time, the top tier teams in the East at any given day can compete with the West, and hell, we showed that last year.
All right, instead of Bo this time, we got a Unk.
You what, Lee?
I said instead of Bo this time, we got Unk calling in.
Oh, you got another caller?
You got another caller.
All right, patch him through.
Good morning. Go ahead.
All right, I guess Unk doesn't want to talk.
Man, at least that other guy, he was willing to talk to us for a little while. That's like the second hang up we've had. Come on, guys, don't be scared. Hey, you got something to say to Magnum and Uncle Lou? Hell, we're all ears. We'll talk a little trash with you if that's what you want to do.
Nothing wrong with that.
Now, that's what college football is all about, man. You know, talking a little trash and getting hyped up for the season. You know, that's what college football is all about, man. It's the excitement and atmosphere. You know, I'm ready for it to begin, man. You know,
Me too. I can't wait.
You know, actually, if we could, I really wish we could. I mean, over the last 10 years, 11 years, you know, actually, you know, one of the more underrated rivalries.
Oh yeah. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? This is Unc Nasty.
Oh, what's up, man?
What's up? Hey, what's all this talk about? What, Gurley better than Duke Johnson? Get the fuck out of here with that.
Okay, well, check this out. Who does Duke Johnson play on a weekly basis? Tell me the teams Duke Johnson plays against on a weekly basis.
Okay, listen, I heard you that the SEC is a little bit better than the ACC. Okay, we'll Wake Forest, Duke, but are you willing to tell me that your running back is going to be a first, second round pick in the NFL? Do you really think that's going to happen?
Oh hell, dude! Anybody that knows anything about college football will tell you Gurley is a first rounder, hands down, dude.
Okay, I tell you what, Magnum. Okay, listen to this. I tell you what. If Duke Johnson can stay healthy this year, we're going to have to do a little bet to see if Duke Johnson goes before your running back. What's his name, Gurley, or what's your running back?
Yeah, Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley. Okay. So what we're going to have to see, we're going to have to come up with a little bet. I bet you Duke Johnson go. And now, you know, the NFL is different now. I mean, like the running backs, you know, I don't believe there's been a first-round running back in a while. I think Duke Johnson might be picked up in the first round.
Well, we're not sitting here saying that. We're not saying that Duke Johnson sucks. We're not saying that. But we are saying we think Todd Gurley is better, and we think that he's going to be taking over Duke Johnson. Now, they both could go in the first round, but what we're saying is Gurley's going to go ahead of Duke Johnson.
Oh, in the NFL draft.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. They both could be first rounders, but what we're saying is Gurley would go ahead of them.
Is Gurley going to the NFL draft next year? Like, what's going on with him? He's soft.
He's a junior this year, and I'm pretty sure that after this year, if he has a good season, he's gone.
Yeah, he'll go.
Okay, well, we're going to have to see what's up and come up with – we'll figure something out. We ain't going to do the bet wager now, but we'll figure something out that I believe that Duke Johnson will go before this Gurley guy. Wow.
But you got to remember, too, I mean, I'm pretty sure that if I'm thinking about this, I'm pretty sure the NFL scouts are looking at it. They're going to look at, you know, the competition these running backs go against. You got to take that into account. I mean, you put Gurley up against teams like Wake Forest and Duke. I mean, let's be real here. He's going to put up monster numbers. But the thing that is really going to matter is these guys are, I mean, Gurley's going up against the tougher competition week in and week out. I mean, let's be real. So at the end of the day, that's going to be looked at.
That I understand, but did you see Duke Johnson run all over Florida State in the first half before he got hurt? I mean, come on now.
Well, we're going to go